to Project Life Thursdays, where I am working through my Project Life album. And here we are in the first half of my 2023 album. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I make this calendar and how I stamp it out and why I do that. So I've gotten a lot of questions about this, and I don't know that I've ever done like a dedicated video for it. So I just want to share my thought process with you as to why I do this. So for every month, and you can see back here, I already have my calendars in here. Now this is a calendar, you can get these, most of the time I just do a search at the beginning of the year or the end of the year that is like blank 2023 vertical printable calendars. You can also go to Etsy. This is one that I got on Etsy and it was like less than $3. I just happened to like this style. I wanted to go for a very bold style. I've done these in all different kinds of styles. I've always done this in all of my albums, even when I was doing traditional pages and I wasn't doing the Project Life style. I've done it when I did weekly Project Life. I did it when I do monthly. So it's just something that I've always done. Now, the reason I use a calendar like this is because I like the back pocket where I can slip in things that I want to save, cards or, you know, just memorabilia, movie tickets or different things like that. There's a pocket that I can keep that in. Now, what I document on the calendar has always pretty much been the same as well. I've always just jotted down notes, like if we have dentist appointments, or there's times I've tracked my husband's work schedule if like he's been like really busy and like I want to see that. Those aren't necessarily things that I'm taking a photo of and documenting. Like I'm not really taking a photo of us going to a dentist appointment, but I'll jot down like there's a dentist appointment, or if we have family in town, or if it's a holiday. It just is a general way to jot things down. And there's been times in the past where I haven't decorated my calendar at all. I usually just put in a piece of pattern paper that matches my layout for the month. So like for January, I did this paper right here. I think that for all of the entire year, I'm going to do this camera paper on the back. But typically, you know, I would just find paper that would coordinate with whatever I was working with. And then that is what would go there. And then like currently I have these things that I'm going to slip in to the back of this pocket. I have a couple cards, and then this is just something that Andrew made, and I'm gonna keep that in there. And so then I have that and it all fits nicely. And sometimes the pockets do get a little like big, particularly like if it's a birthday month for somebody, or if it is like I just have a lot of extra stuff, or we went on vacation or something like that, and I have things, but I never worry about it. It always tends to work out. So in this pocket here, I have a couple pieces from when I was decorating February that I knew I wanted to use on the calendar. And in January, you can see how I decorated it. So this is something new. This is the first, in January, is the first time I've ever used stamps on my calendar. So I've never done that before, or colored anything in, or made it really decorative. But this year, I really want to find ways to use my stamps more. And I saw somebody, I'll link her YouTube channel in the description. Her name is Hepa, and she does a lot of memory keeping, Project Life. She does journaling and planner stuff, and she was stamping in her planner, and this is like the way that she did her monthly view in her planner, and I loved it. But I was like, I don't want to do that in my planner. And I was like, but wait, I could totally do that in Project Life for my calendar. It would give me a way to use my stamps a lot more, and it would be a different way to do my calendars. So that's where I got the idea from. In January, not last month, but in January was the first month that I did this. I redid it. If you caught that video, I did it the first time. I did love the way it came out, and then I did it a second time, and this was the way it came out the second time. And I just attached the second one over the top of the first one. So what I want to do is I want to do all the stamping with you. So I'm going to just leave my camera rolling, and I am going to do all of the stamping and the decorating. I am going to use what is already in my pocket, these couple of things in my pocket. And you can see that I have not journaled February. That's the other thing that I want to do today. I don't know if that will be in the video or not, but this was this was February, all of February, and I have not set up March yet, so you will see me actually do that this month. At some point I'll set up March and get my photos in there, but I want to get my calendar done. That's the first thing I want to get done, and then the journaling for the rest of February will be really, really easy. So we'll take this out and we'll start stamping, and you can see me put this February calendar together. So I wanted to share really briefly before we dive into the actual stamping and creating part of this. These are my stamps from Ali Edwards. So these are all Ali Edward based stamps. They are the story theme stamps. So I've been getting her story themes for like 6 years now. So her story theme or her story kit each month has a theme. Like this one was Drive. This one was Delight. You get the idea. This one was Design. And so I just have them in these containers. I just made my own dividers with just a piece of white cardstock and then a letter, so they're alphabetical. And then in the front here are ones that are not necessarily themed, but they're ones from Ali Edwards that I have gotten, and they're just more everyday. These are the stamps that I pull from that I would like to use more of. The other thing that I subscribe to is her stories by the month, and so each month you get a stamp set and then you get some product. So this is where I pull from. So what I've done, I'm not gonna have all of these out. I feel like that's a little bit overwhelming. So what I do is I obviously am gonna pull all the February stamps that I have. So I have all of the February ones. And then this one is just my favorite photo stamp. You can see it's very, very used. It's from Honeybee, and it is no longer made. I can't find another one. I wish I would have bought a couple of those. And so then what I've done is I've just pulled out a few that make sense. I did, this one was from a collection that she did, Ups and Downs. This is This and That. This is a coffee, and I used this one last month too. And then this one with the photos and then details. And so I figure between all of these, this is a really good collection of stamps that I can use, and then this is what I'm just going to limit myself to. So I will pull ink pads that coordinate with that month. In February I used the Click core kit, so it was like a red black kind of theme, so I will pull some reds, some pinks, and then a black ink pad, and then we'll get to stamping my calendar and figuring that out. All right, so here is the calendar, and I did a live with my Life Simply Documented group. That is what this video originally was. So you're going to see I'm talking with my hands a little bit because we were on a live call, and I've just downloaded that video and then I've sped it up so I can walk you through a little bit quicker about what I'm doing. So that's why you're going to see my hands moving and I'm chit-chatting. So here's the calendar, and I have those two pieces that I knew I wanted to use within the calendar. And this calendar, I often get asked where I get my calendars. I think that's what I'm explaining to the group right now. You can just do a search. Just do a Google search that is like 2023 vertical free printable calendars. And something always comes up. If something doesn't come up that you like, then you can go to Etsy, and that's actually where I got my calendars this year, is from Etsy, and they were less than $3, and I purchased them. So I just liked the style, and then I also put together a hanging calendar in my office using the same calendar, and then I also use the same calendar in my financial binder. So I use the calendar, whatever calendar I find, I use it in several different places all of the time. So those are the stamps. I think I had already talked about the stamps that I was going to use, and then I'm using Cherry Cobbler, Blushing Bride. I'm using a Lawn Fawn stamp pad that's called Guava, and then a black ink pad. So the first thing I do is I go ahead and I look at my calendar, my digital calendar. My husband and I use the Apple calendar, so iCal, or I don't know what it's called now, it's just the calendar app on our iPhone. We share several calendars, and that's where we do the majority of our everyday planning. So we have a family calendar, I have a work calendar, he has a work calendar, we have a meal planning calendar. The school, we are subscribed to the school calendar, so we know all the school events. And so that is a place that is like all of the majority of the planning that happens in general. And then for this calendar, I just go ahead and I go into our digital calendar and I just see if there's anything I want to pull out to add to this calendar. Now, the majority of the calendar, the function that it plays in my Project Life album, the main function is that extra pocket that I can add items to. That is the main thing that I want. I will also do like a traditional page, like an 8.5 by 11 page if I, want, like I need a traditional page. But mainly it's that extra pocket that I can hold things on. Now, I like to jot down things like if we have a dentist appointment or something that I'm not really going to have documenting, like I'm not going to make a scrapbook page or to maybe really take a photo of us at the dentist, but it's nice to see. When my husband was towing, I also sometimes would track his hours because he was on call and there was times of the year that he was gone more. When I had babies, when my kids were little tiny babies, I would put their milestones on the calendar. Like I would put Andrew started walking or Andrew rolled over, like that kind of thing. So it's fun to see that. The other thing that I will start to track on this calendar will be Kayla's volleyball practice and her games. While I am doing memory keeping of that subject, it's fun to see how crazy like our schedule gets with that. I really enjoy doing a calendar, but it's certainly not necessary for your Project Life album. Again, it serves a purpose for what I do, and I've always done one. I really like adding the stamps. This is not something that I have done in the past. I think that I shared at the beginning of the video that this is actually something that I saw another YouTuber do with their planner and like how they were using their planner monthly calendar, and I thought it would work really well to do it in memory keeping. This is the second month that I've done it, and I really am liking it. I'm using a stamp set from Ali Edwards that is the detail stamp, and I actually will use quite a few of those stamps. And then I'm just adding pieces of stamping, like Love Wins, I added on Valentine's Day. The details on the 10th and the 11th, I added because my paper party for my Stampin' Up! Business was on that day. So I had an event that day and I wanted to write in, my paper party right above that. I actually think I forget to write that during the video, but I'll go back and write that. And then, so the first thing I do is I look at if there's any events that I maybe want to do some stamping on, and so that I can add those. And then I'm doing it in a couple different colors. One of the things that I do here is I stamp off. So this was in that guava color from Lawn Fawn, and it was a very deep, like, see, the details are in that deep guava color. So then what I did is, for the stamp right above February, what I did is I inked up my stamp, and then I stamped off on some scrap paper and then stamped it, and it gave me a lighter color. And then I'm going to stamp the heart in Cherry Cobbler, which ends up being really dark. I probably should have done real red. Real red probably would have matched better to that, but it's fine. It's red. It still works. So if you have a couple different ink pads, what you can do is do that method where you stamp off once. It's called second generation stamping. And if you do that, you'll get a couple different colors from one ink pad, which is really nice. It can give you a variety, particularly if you don't have a lot of ink pads, right? If you don't have a lot of different colors, you can do that. So I'm going to add the chipboard piece here. This, I know it's a little bit hard to see because this was a Facebook Live. This video was a Facebook Live, so the quality isn't the greatest. But that chipboard piece has XO all over it in black and white. And then this little piece is a wood veneer piece, and it says XOXO. I'm putting that up on the calendar where there's no dates. Like that was January dates. And then I smeared some ink on the side of my calendar. So I just used my mono eraser to erase it, and it didn't erase it all the way, but it removed some of it. And then I'm using my Wink of Stella to add a little bit of shimmer to that red ink. So the our Stampin' Up inks will the Wink of Stella will reactivate those inks. When I used the Wink of Stella over the pink heart at the bottom of the calendar, that is stamped in a Lawn Fawn ink, and it did not reactivate the ink. So your Wink of Stella will work differently with each of your different inks. So just make sure you're aware of that. With my Cherry Cobbler heart at the top, I knew that the Wink of Stella would reactivate that heart, so I was very careful to not go out of the, excuse me, out of the edge of that heart. So you can see I have Love Wins on there, and then at the very bottom, I have Super Love These Details. And then here is where I'm going to start to write some things. Like I have Esau's Dentist Appointment on the bottom on the 27th. And then what I'm going to realize is I want to stamp something there, and I want to put something different there. And also at the very end of the month is when we had all of the crazy snow and the kids were out of school. It kept being like no school. It's like every day we were trying to figure it out. So I want to stamp today's details, but I realized like I've already written that Esau had a dentist appointment that day. So I'm going to white out. I'm just going to use correction tape. I'm going to white that out, and then I'm going to stamp the details on there, and then I'll rewrite the dentist appointment. And then for for those 3 slots after the 28th or 29th, no, the 28th, that is March, right? That's March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And the kids didn't have school, and then they had a half day. I will document that in March. I'll save that for March's calendar. So I did that, and then the pen I'm using, the black pen, is I got it from Jet Pens. It's my favorite pen. I use it in my planner. But it doesn't work great on this paper. I still have not found a pen that I love. I think I need like a roller ball pen, like not a gel pen, for my calendar, because I print these calendars that go into my Project Life album. I print them on photo paper. So it is matte photo paper, and it is by Epson. So on the blog post for this, I will link that product, and I'll link it in the description below. I always have my Amazon store linked, and if you go to my Amazon storefront, you will see I have all of that organized by, like, you know, photo stuff. Like I have the photo printer paper, I have the sticker paper I use. I have all of that linked in case you want to, if you're looking for something specific that I get on Amazon. Please know that that's an affiliate link, so I do get an affiliate
It is very, very minor. It does not affect your price. I get like a $7 check from Amazon every 6 months. It's literally nothing. But it is an affiliate thing. So I just like to make sure that that's known. It helps me out when I get this little $7 check or $11 check that I get. It does help me out. So I appreciate you using those links that I provide. So now what I'm doing is on Thursdays, I have a call. I have a therapy call that I do every Thursday. So I'm rotating. It says this is life. And then there's another stamp, and I'm rotating that on that day. And then I'm just going to put my call time in with that. That's changing. It has already changed. It's on a different day now. So it's kind of nice to go back and look at that. And then I didn't stamp anything on the 9th for that day because of the details stamp. It overlapped into the Thursday, so I just left that. That was fine. And then I stamped those pieces in Memento Black. I wanted to add some stamping in here that was like some words and stuff in black, just to pull in that color. I'm doing more of like a bold look on my months, and so I'm doing a lot in like black and white, and so that's what I'm trying to add. I'm using a stamp set from Allie Edwards. It's called Ups and Downs. It was a collection she came out with, and it just is like ups and downs and different struggles and whatnot. I was taking that stamp and rubbing it on my hand to season it. That worked fine. I do prefer to season my stamps using a nail file or my mono eraser. It does it better. But in a pinch, if your stamps are not stamping really crisp, just run the stamp over your skin like I'm doing right there on my hand, and that will season the stamp and allow the ink to seep into the stamp a little bit better, and you will get a crisper stamp. And I'm sorry, I'm stamping on the bottom of the calendar. I didn't realize that it wasn't in focus, so I apologize, but I'll show you the bottom of it here in a minute. I added a heart right there by the details. My goal for these calendars is not that every single spot has like something going on like that we're doing, or that has a stamp on it. I do want there to be some space in between things. So I'm just kind of trying to sprinkle things around. I keep wanting to use this chipboard that says don't forget. I keep like shopping it around my calendar page, and I just cannot figure out how to make it work. I end up not using it. So no worries about that. And I will share a photo of the finished calendar over on my blog post. So there'll be a link down in the description. You can go over to my website and see a full photo of the calendar, so you can see it in its whole and how it all turned out. If the blog post is not up immediately when the video goes up, just go back and check. I have to take the photos and write the post. So it takes a little bit of time to do that. So then I had a call interview for something with Violet. Isa and I had dentist appointments for cleaning, and then the one at the bottom of the calendar was a follow-up dentist appointment that he had. So I'm adding a heart. I am really off camera today, you guys. I wonder if it would, well, this is the footage from the live that I did. So this is exactly what everybody else was seeing. So that's unfortunate. And nobody said like, we can't see. If you would like to join us over in our Life Simply Documented group, I would love to have you. We have such a fun community there. In fact, this Saturday is our next, it's our very first Zoom craft along hangout of the year. I've started these back up. So on Saturday, we're going to be hanging out on Zoom and doing a little bit of crafting. And then this was a live video that I did. So I was chatting with everybody, and it's just a fun group to be a part of. It is $14.99 for you to join for the month. You get a exclusive workshop that I do not share on YouTube. I only share with that group. You get access to my website that has a whole bunch of courses. I have a bunch of simply layered pages that are getting ready to get loaded into that website. And then I do lives in our Facebook group, and I have 2 exclusive projects. Most of the time that happens in the weeks like on Mondays and Thursdays, I do some exclusive stuff in there and share things in there. And then also, if you need help with your scrapbooking, if ever you're like, I really need some one-on-one help, I need to have, I need to understand what's happening, or I just need that extra boost or encouragement or inspiration, that's what we do in there. I also upload all of the documents I use. This calendar is uploaded into that group as well. So if ever there's documents or digital products that I'm creating, it gets uploaded to there as well. This month we are focusing on week in the life, because I am doing that along with the Allie Edwards community. So that's fun. And then I'm also getting ready to work on Kayla's albums and get those all sorted out this year. That's one of my goals, is to work on one of my kids' album to get it caught up. Each year I'm picking a kid. So this year is Kayla, and then I'll keep up with hers going forward. And then next year I'll work on Violet's and then Andrew's. And that is just because I got really behind with my kids' albums during COVID. I was so great with them right up until COVID. And then COVID screwed us all, didn't it? It just like totally screwed everything up. So I need to get back on top of that. But anyways, let's get back to what I'm doing. I was continuing to stamp here on my calendar. I added another heart. I believe I added that camera underneath the dentist appointment cleanings. What I realized is that I did not pull enough stamps. Like the stamps that I showed you at the very beginning of when I was showing you what I was using, what I realized is I did not grab a big enough variety, and that I really should have grabbed a few more so that I had a little bit more variety. When I stamp this, at the bottom of the ampersand sign, it says forever and ever, and then the words say, I love you so. At the very top of that ampersand, I got a little bit of ink in there, like I pressed too hard with my ink, with the stamp, and the ink transferred from the block to the paper. I'm not worried about it. It's totally fine. It doesn't look terrible. And because it's black, I'm not going to try to cover it up. You could try to erase a little bit of it and then either use correction tape or a white gel pen to cover that up if it bothered you. But I just try not to let those things bother me. When you're doing something like this with a calendar, like, yeah, I don't love my handwriting on this calendar. Again, I don't have a good pen that is working well for me on these calendars. I need to find one, but I'm just going to let it go. Like sometimes you just have to let it go and not worry about it. The stamping doesn't need to be perfect. Your handwriting doesn't need to be perfect. You're not entering any contests. Like nobody is going to like look at this and judge you of how well like your stamping is, how well your handwriting is. This is literally you documenting your life and the moments and, the everyday moments that happen in your life. So I just want you to not be so hard on yourself if you feel like things are not perfect, because they don't need to be perfect. The great thing about this is I'm using my product. I'm using all these stamps that I've bought, and you can use any stamps that you want. You don't have to have specific Allie Edwards stamps. You can use any stamps you're purchasing. If you have a bunch of Stampin' Up stamps, or you use Lawn Fawn stamps, or whatever it is, get them out and add them to your memory keeping and use them. I have a little bit of product left here from the February kit, and I was trying to see if I could use any of it, and it turns out that I end up not needing to use any of it. And I'm just straightening up a little bit, and then hopefully I'm going to lift up this calendar. I'm going to put it back in my album here. And you can see there's the calendar. And then you'll also see, I'm going to flip in a minute to show you that the calendars for the rest of the year are already in my album. So I have all of those back here, and I'm really enjoying stamping with these. The last thing I need to do for my February Project Life pages is I do need to get my journaling done, and that's something that I'm going to share in my Life Simply Documented group. They will see how I do all of that, and then that will be done, and then I need to get March set up. I just ordered my photos for March, so those should be coming soon, and then I want to try to get April set up as well. I like to do some foundation pages in my Project Life album so that it makes it a little bit easier for me to keep up with things. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me for Project Life Thursday. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, I'm just giving them a little sneak peek of this is the workshop that I will be doing. That's the paper I'm using for my workshop this month in that group. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Up here on the screen, you're going to see 2 other videos that you can check out. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these projects. And if you can give this video a thumbs up, that helps me know that you're enjoying the content. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch everybody in my next video.